Welcome back to Walk-Ins Welcome. My name is Nick Horde. I am your host, and my co-host, Michael Ray, who is the host when I'm not here as well.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I show up when, I guess when you're not here, and I have to bring in some extra people.
That's right.
But I think I'm on every podcast episode except for one.
And I'm on every one except for one, I believe.
All right, we're doing pretty good then.
I would just say that we're both mutual hosts of the show at this point. Everybody's used to hearing us, but it's our goal to help medical and patient care facilities triple their revenue and provide exceptional patient experience. That's the goal of the podcast, and we talk about that all the time. And today I'm excited to talk about all things chat for your website.
Yeah, so reason why we have talked all sorts about websites, about flow, about what people expect, but we haven't really dug too much into the chat side. And I think it's kind of funny we haven't brought it up really because we have clients that actually use their urgent cares that use a chat function on their site. But they all have different reasons why. And we're going to kind of go into the different types of chat that's out there. And then we go from there and then kind of give you some suggestions. And as to why do you want chat and why you may not want chat.
We use it for our website. We use it for our agency. We use it for urgent cares that we work with to help alleviate some of the stress of their phone calls. And we'll talk about that today. We have clients that use it for lead generation.
Yeah.
It's just designed for that. We have one as kind of like an intercept. Hey, we want to answer the FAQs and then talk to a real person. There's so many cool functions of chat. And here's the big deal, Michael. People do not want to talk to you anymore. You will lose business, in my opinion. I'm going to say my humble but accurate opinion. You will lose business. You won't know you lost it, but you will lose business because they don't want to call you and they were unable to get their question answered on your site.
Yeah, and so let's break that down a little bit. So when we say a chat on your site, generally speaking, if you go to a website and a little bubble pops up on the bottom right-hand side of your screen and it says, "Hi, how can I help you?" And then you type in your name or you type in a question and there's a response or somebody says, "I'm connecting you to a live person now," or whatever. That's what we're talking about. Because here's the thing, people are already scared enough of the phone. And now that they're trying to figure out, maybe I'm sick or maybe I need to go to a doctor, but I have a question if it's worth going to or not. They're going to kind of initiate that question on a chat because if they don't see the answer they're looking for on your website, they're going to try, if chat's available, they're going to hit it up. Like we're always shocked at the amount of times a chat function is utilized. Talking about the one where the robot answered some questions, it was amazing how many people engaged with that thing, and it helped. It just saved time for the client, and then it filtered people. If anything, chat is a great way to help filter people and making sure they're in the right spot in the first place. We've even had some lawyer clients with chat stuff, and they recognize like there has to be a filter because some people just want free advice and don't want to pay for services, and you got to be conscious of that too. But yeah.
Right. So we're going to talk about what we think are the 5 types of chats that are out there. They're the ones that we've encountered and we've used and we've sold and we've developed, all the chats that we've used for our customers. If there are more out there, I don't know what they are. Yeah. So that's in full disclosure. I'm bringing the 5 that I know that are out there. And if there's more than that, I just don't know they're there.
There you go.
So let's start with the SMS chat. So what this is the chatbot on your website takes you to a text message on a cell phone. And we use that on our Nick the Marketer website. That's our legacy agency where we do general marketing for other companies. Talk a little bit about how that works, Michael.
Yeah, so if you go into our chat, they'll ask for a name, a phone number, and your message, and you put it in, and the system sends a text to us. And then at that point, we can technically text back through that and engage. So it's not have to be constantly engaged on the website to have a conversation. We can actually engage offline a little bit. We have their cell phone, and we can now engage with them offline. We can actually have a conversation. And the reality is, if they're willing to give you that information, you can actually call them too, right? So now you have all this information available to you. And they probably wouldn't have given that to you through a contact form because they feel like if they did that, it just gets lost in the shuffle and not going to listen to me anymore. But with that chat piece, it's a weird chat because I'll be honest, when I think chat, I have a personal one in just pinging me back and forth. But in this situation, it's like an offline chat where it's a little bit different, which I tell you, the best, talking about texting, and I think I may have talked this before on the podcast, but the Zappos, with their
the shoes,
the text support, where you text support to them and they text you back, and the conversation can take as long or as short as you want, and I don't feel tied to anything. It was really cool. Like I remember sitting in the car, I was like, I need to figure out, I forgot what it was. And I texted him, I said, well, this is kind of cool that we're taking. He said, oh yeah, people love this thing. It's great. Because it was like a 2-hour drive. And I had this conversation over like 45 minutes, which I would have done on my phone in a chat message. But going through a text, I was like, okay, whatever. And the guy would respond back after a couple minutes. It was very relaxed, but I got my answer.
So some things that I like, some things that I don't like about this chat. Okay, let me start with the things that I do like. I like the fact that they will not get my cell phone number, but I will get theirs. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have
Yeah.
we have the app that we use, which is our high level app. And what we do is we put the chatbot on the website. They put in their name, their phone number, and their email, and it sends me a message and them a message, letting them know that they received it. But it sends it on their cell phone, but it sends it in my app, so they never get my cell phone. So you can assign this to anybody on your team. I like that. Okay, I also like the fact that it goes with them. And here's what I mean by that. Have you ever opened up a chat on a website? It took some time to get back with them because maybe you're a one-man show or your front desk is busy or whatever, and you weren't able to get back to them later. They've long since bounced off of your website, and now you can still talk to them through your app and their cell phone. So I like the fact that it goes with them off of your website.
Yeah, to me, that is the most important part of it, because now the conversation doesn't have to be instant, but can still be effective.
Right.
Which I really appreciate.
Right. So what I don't like about it really is that it does deter some people. Don't want to give their cell phone. They don't want to give that information. They just want to chat with somebody directly on the website. And it does deter people from doing that. I would argue that this particular, the chatbot to SMS or chatbot to text message, this is going to be for your smaller team. This is going to be for the person who isn't standing by just waiting on somebody to chat with them on the website. Okay. This isn't for that busy person who's going to get around to it as soon as they can. And it's just shy of being a contact form on your page.
Yeah, it's just like one extra step, but the best part is it does require a cell phone number.
That's right.
And that's the biggest difference.
Right. And it looks good.
And it gives the appearance of chat, so people just think it's pure chat, and they just don't know until they submit their stuff.
Right.
And then, honestly, from the standpoint of the back end, it's not an email per se. It's an app that you can engage with and treat it like a text message on your phone. But I think you're right. I think it's built for small teams that don't have a dedicated person or a well-built script to go through and stuff like that. Like, this is a good way to offer convenience, but not take too much of your time.
Right. Okay, that's chat number one. Chat number two is the direct message chat. All right, this is I tell you what, Michael, why don't you explain this? This is where you have an app and they're engaging directly on your website. You're answering questions live and in real time.
Yeah, so this is what you would view as the most traditional chat way.
It's the live chat.
Yeah, so when I say I'm connecting with a live person right now, I mean, if you need a small example, go to any car dealership or whatever, and they have a live person that you can 9 times out of 10 chat with. Granted, that person you're chatting with doesn't know anything about that dealership. They're just answering questions.
And we are going to talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to go through that. But the idea behind it is that you have somebody that's knowledgeable on your side that's able to answer certain questions and guide people through a process to convert them into an actual customer. Because that's the thing. It's one, like we had this discussion with receptionists, but it is one thing to have people ask questions on your chat. It's another thing to lead people down the path that they should come in and get, if they're on an urgent care website, yeah, you should come in, set an appointment, then go and set it for it. Like, there's actions you can take to engage on them. Because I'll be honest, if I chat somebody and I say, I have a question, can y'all handle this? Absolutely. I can go ahead and book you a time right now. Like, you take action, not just receive questions and answer questions. You take the actions and you win. But yeah, boiling down to this, there's somebody probably on your team that's able to engage with people at certain times of the day, but they are expecting like a minute or 2 minute wait at the most for a response.
They want an immediate response, and you want to be the one to provide that response for them or have your team do it.
Yep.
This is going to be somebody who's going to be dedicated to this seat. Like, you could have a great front end receptionist who has a second monitor pulled up all the time, logged into that chat, sees it pop up, and can pop in and answer a question while they're filing paperwork or while they're checking in a patient, or maybe they're scheduling a massage or whatever it is that they're doing. scheduling the next dental appointment, whatever it is.
Yep.
But they have a second screen up. I want to recommend, we like drift.com. Drift is the app that we recommend for this. I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's not cheap.
It used to be awesome cheap.
Yeah, it used to be incredibly cheap, and then they figure out what they had their hands on.
And people will pay a lot of money for this.
Right. It is not cheap, but it is a amazing way to connect with your client. Okay, or your patient rather. Here's what I want to tell you though is we did this for one of our urgent cares. They needed a solution. They wanted to maintain the narrative. They wanted to make sure that they were answering the questions and not just it take forever to get back to them, or they were getting weird information or whatever. And they were averaging, Michael, 580 chats a month.
That's a lot.
That's an incredible amount of chats. And guess what? They had 5 or 6 questions that they were answering
all the
over
time.
and over and over again. And so...
And let's put that in perspective.
Right.
So basically they were getting 1 to 2 chat requests an hour.
Yeah, all day, every day.
Every day.
Well, so, we had set up for them to where when they were closed, it was not...
But
we'll be back tomorrow, and they would get a message saying that.
But think about that. But think about that for a second. Like the urgent care we're discussing, it's not a massive urgent care.
No, it's not.
It's not. It is multi-location, but it's not massive.
Right.
And they were getting that many engagement, and it was like on off too. I remember it's like turn on in like 3 hours. Hey.
Yeah. So we did this for them for about 3 months.
And they couldn't handle it anymore.
They called me up. They called a meeting.
They're like, hey,
said,
we liked the idea,
hey,
but
Nick, this is doing what we asked you for it to do. We cannot manage through this, and we need another solution, which takes us to the next one, which is a chatbot.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us what a chatbot use is?
All right, so chances are y'all have engaged with a chatbot at some point, and the way chatbot works is that pops up, hey, how can I help you? And it has I'm whatever bot. We have Bot the Marketer as our mascot.
That's right.
The Marketer, but he's also like a chatbot type guy. So what it boils down to, so you go to a website and it pops up, how can I help you? And you start, and it will give you a list of questions that most people ask, or you can type in a question and it will kind of figure out what you're asking for. And it has planned out responses, canned responses ready to go to answer those questions. Like a lot of them ask, what are your hours today? What's the directions to your location? What are your service? Like these sound super.
Do you do COVID testing? Yeah. What are your hours?
Yeah.
Do you have availability now? It was the same 5 or 6 questions over and over again.
And so we took those questions, we loaded it into a software and created the responses. So you can imagine like a matrix of question to answer, and these are the type of things. And then we have a bot, and the bot now took the whole. I can't remember the full results of when we turned that on.
It's still on, and they love it.
Yeah, but it solved the problem, and then and we'll talk about the next step after that. But for them, it was perfect. It allows some interaction because what we know about people, they don't spend much time on a website and they don't dig too deep. And if you can't provide, if your stuff is buried in that site and you just can't get around burying it, a chatbot can bring it up to life because it's going to bring to the table the things that people mostly care about.
Right. Yeah. And it's an incredible way to intercept that customer. Their call volume, rightfully, it dropped tremendously, and it needed to, because if you think about, that's 580 chats that would be 580 phone calls or 580 missed opportunities on average a month over those 3 months, where that's a receptionist or somebody who's trying to book a patient in that is distracted by answering, yes, we're open through these hours, right? And they're not trying to be rude or anything. It's just, I've answered this 28 times today.
Well, think about it this way. You ever realize that at some point now when you call a phone tree, it says, our hours, they answer the questions on the front side of that phone tree because they get them all the time. And so there's a caveat, right? So if you put on a bot chat of some sort, you're going to have a drop in phone calls by default because people are now getting their questions answered effectively. And so you have to be prepared for that because the last thing we want people to think, oh, I installed this bot chat, I don't get any phone calls anymore. It's like, no, that means you got a lot of unnecessary calls that the chat took care of.
That's right.
Yeah.
I love it. So for the chatbot, we recommend chatbot.com. And we'll tie that together on why we use them instead of Drift for a chatbot type situation. But chatbot.com, they have a great price on it, and you can go in and you can do it yourself or have somebody on your team do it. Really, really a big fan of Chatbot. I like it.
And we have no affiliation link. This is
pure.
This is what we've learned and what we've used and what we recommended. We don't make a dime off of recommending any of this.
Thanks for that disclosure. So tying this together, there is a gap between Chatbot and live chat. And guess who owns a company called livechat.com? Chatbot. Shock and all, right? So what happens when Chatbot answered all the questions it could, but they still at some point need to talk to a human being?
Now we got the next type.
Hello, live chat.
There you go.
So imagine you have Chatbot that answered 5 or 6 questions, and then they wanted to talk to a person at your company, at your urgent care, at your dentist, at your whatever. Now you can have it roll over to a live person. You've intercepted 500 of those 580 chats, and now you have 80 new opportunities to book them into an appointment to come in.
I would have to argue this is probably my favorite version.
It is my favorite. It's the most expensive, but it is my favorite.
And the reason why it's my favorite is that it gives the ability to engage with people instantly, and then it filters those people, and then it allows those people to connect to a real person. So by the time they go from the bot to the live person, they went from a kind of warm to I need to be your customer pretty quickly because I actually have a question that's not generic.
Yes, it is a game changer when done right.
Yeah.
I would even think of it, and I mean this because the investment's about there too. Mm-hmm. You need to think of it as a team member. Or even a part-time team member, if you want to think of it. But, you can expect to spend $1,000 or $1,500 a month on, you can expect to spend $3,000 to $5,000 a month on somebody sitting at a front desk, answering calls, booking appointments, doing all these things. But at a fraction of that, $1,000, $1,500, somewhere in that neighborhood, when you have both a chatbot and a rollover to a human being, you have a real filter there that's going to help you grow your practice.
Yeah, and it's very focused. And, you say the investment's a little high. I mean, it is in the respect of software, I view, but ultimately the return on it's pretty darn good.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to sell you on this particular thing. There's tons and tons of options out there, Podium and all these things, right? Intercom is a great one. And I don't want to take anything away from those companies. They do great work. These are ones that we understand, know, and use. And by the way, those other companies are going to cost about the same as all of them. This one's just super user-friendly for the DIY crowd. Now, let's talk about the final chat that I wanted to discuss, which is the done-for-you chat.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want to talk to them, but I want somebody to talk to them, and I want them to book them I want them in our patient, I want them booked into our calendar.
Yeah. Okay? So imagine this one is where you completely outsource your chat function to the level where basically someone is representing you and taking care of these interactions. And that sounds scary, doesn't it? I just handed off a piece of my business to this company that's going to represent me. Well, think about it this way. These people are actually, one, it's not just here, run with it. There's a train, like the ones that we've set up in the past. There's basically a process you go through so they understand how you talk, what you ask for, what's important to you, what's not important to you.
What is the win?
Yeah. What's the end goal? And then they're transparent. They have things recorded. They push out anything that's been happening that gets emailed to you. Like there's no surprises. And then once it goes beyond their expertise, they default. Let me get so and so to contact you, or vice versa. Like we have a lawyer client. He has a call he has a call center that does this, right? Mm-hmm. So think about it this way: a call center and done for you chat.
It's a chat center.
It's a chat center. Where's that domain available?
Chat center. We should check.
Hang on.
Y'all, things are happening in real time.
If y'all are curious, instantdomainsearch.com is my best friend.
Buy it if it's
just
go ahead and buy it if it's available.
It is a whois. Somebody owns it.
Okay, well, whatever. Let's keep going with the podcast.
Sorry,
here.
I was super.
We just had a thing.
Moving on. Anyway, but the whole point is that they are getting as far as they possibly can without being the doctor or the nurse, right? They're taking as far as they can without giving medical advice in this scenario. But it works because now you just get a report and you pay your bill. You don't have to train somebody internally. You don't have to look at sick days and turn off the chat on and off because somebody couldn't man it. and you don't have to deal with software issues because they're taking care of the software itself.
That's good. So here's the thing that you need to know about a done-for-you service. Best I can tell, and the relationships that we've made in the chat industry, Apex Chat is who we recommend, and Apex Chat gets paid per lead.
Yeah.
Okay, so they will talk for you, they will answer questions, they will do everything that you need them to do, but they only get paid when they turn it into a lead that goes into your calendar. They've booked it into your scheduling appointment thing. A CRM, I guess is what that would be called, right?
Yeah.
Into your scheduling software, or they have delivered that phone call directly to your practice. They don't get paid until that happens.
And with Apex, don't they? You buy like a block of. I can't remember how.
There's not. No, you have a setup fee, and then it's 100%
pay per lead.
every time a qualified lead, and they ask you
What that looks
when
like.
you go through it. I need to know what a qualified lead is because that's what we're sending to you. So here's what you got to know about that. There's pros and cons to every single one of these.
Yeah.
If it's their goal to book patients into your calendar, when everything looks like a nail, you got a hammer. That's how it's going to work, right? So, or when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail, right?
Yeah,
So they're
yeah.
not there to tell them hours. They're there to get them through the door. They will do all those things, but they will be aggressive in getting that thing converted into a new patient for you. So I just want you to have the full facts. So let's go back real quick. You have the chat to SMS, chat to text message.
Which is super convenient,
Yep.
And it's best for small teams.
Small teams, very good. And it's really easy to set up.
It's not that expensive.
And super cheap. You have the live chat, which is going to be a software that is both on your website as a chat bubble and a software that you have to log into, stay logged into, and you chat back and forth live.
Yeah, and that is what we call like the most traditional version. But the biggest caveat is that they have to be on your website to engage.
Right. The next one we have is a chat bot. So the chat bot is the full filter. We're there to answer all the questions for you. And if we're just unable to answer those questions through this chat bot sequence, this if then sequence, IFTT is what it's called. But anyway, this
If
sequence.
then this.
Yeah.
If this then that.
It's
If
gonna
then-
be-
if this then that.
Yeah, y'all go look that up. If they're unable to get that set up, then they're going to prompt you to fill out a form or to call directly.
And that you will call them.
Right. then there's that chat bridge, another domain to look up. Then there,
Hey, web chat center.
there you go. Then there's that chat bridge that is a bot that will turn it over to a live chat as needed. And then you have the Done For You chat, which is a third-party service that will manage your chat, answer all your chats, and turn them into appointments directly into your calendar. And those are the 5 chats that we know of that are for external use. There is one more that I'm going to talk about very, very briefly, and this is where intercom and all that comes in. We wanted to talk about the 5 marketing ones. This is the service app. This is the one where you're already logged into a software or your patient's in the back end of the portal and they have a question based on like they're already a patient or they're already a user or they're already a team member or something like that. That's where they're going to be on the back end of that, and they're going to answer support level questions. And that's what that's for.
And sometimes your software may come with some built-in stuff to do that for you. I mean, we're not saying like you have to have it, but the reality is the whole point of chat is to be able to engage with current customers or potential customers and making sure they have the best experience possible.
Last thing I want to do is encourage you to reach out to us if you have any questions about who to use, what would be the best use for your practice. We actually do this. You can get any one of these that we just told you about. You can have a team member or you can do it yourself and go and get that set up. But if you're looking for somebody to get this who's already done it, knows how to get in and do these things, we're more than happy to help you as well. I believe, Michael, it's hello@urgentcaremarketingpros.com is the best way to get in touch with us, right?
Exactly. And also, too, one thing that we were actually meeting this morning discussing what kind of interviews we like to have in the future. Could y'all send us the vendors that you like and why you like them?
Yes.
Because we're in the process of interviewing some vendors. And we'd love to know out there, like, man, these guys rock it, and we want more. We want to hear from them. Or, is there a missing gap in your urgent care that a vendor hasn't taken care of very well? And can we bring somebody to the table to help talk to? Because the reality is, we could talk all day, but we love bringing experts to the table, and it makes a big difference. So please email us. Hey, these are my top vendors. We use them all the time and love them. Give us a connection. It's amazing how people will come on a podcast and they explain why they do what they do.
So I want to tease a couple of things that are upcoming in the next probably 8 or 10 episodes. I mean, we have a branding expert that is going to come on and talk about all things branding. And we're even going to give away, Michael, a free brand package.
Oh,
You're welcome. You didn't know that until just now. So
I'm not surprised.
That's going to be cool. I'm excited about that because it's a brand/software, and we're going to have Bethany on to talk about that. We're going to have a TikTok expert that is possibly going to come on with us. Yes. I know we've been going back and forth to set that up, and he's going to be talking about TikTok marketing. Yeah, even for the medical industry. It's crazy.
Well, it was funny because he had reached out to us originally, and I was like, well, I mean, we kind of talk digital. He's like, well, I mean, I'm just TikTok only. I'm like, oh, well, we haven't quite figured all those nuts and bolts out yet. So let's bring you on because, I mean, we're not supposed to be the experts in all digital, but
we know our role.
Yeah.
We stay in our role, and we bring in other people who know their role better than we know their role.
We're trying to be honest here.
Right. And then we have some other urgent cares and some other medical professional industries that are going to come on and just talk about what they're doing to succeed and win. But I never want to miss an opportunity to say thank you for listening to Walk-Ins Welcome. The feedback that we've got has been amazing.
Yeah.
And Michael, we always have to ask for reviews.
Yeah, please do. I mean, we do have some out there. Thank you for the ones who have put out reviews. But every time you do that, it helps us. Every single time. Also, as a side note, we try to do monthly webinars, and if you're in the timing of this podcast coming out with the next webinar, it's a little off, but I'm just going to tell you, if you go to urgentcaremarketingpros.com, there's usually a link for an upcoming webinar, and we deep dive into certain subjects related to digital and give you resources here on out. So if you're like, hey, I like what you're saying, I want to learn more about X, Y, Z, we probably have a webinar coming up for that. So just go to urgentcaremarketingpros.com and look for the link.
As always, we try and keep this 30 minutes or less so that you can get to where you're going. Thank you for listening to us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Have a great one.